With control of Congress on the line, some Democrats have differing visions for the direction of the party heading into the midterms. While Republican infighting has been the subject of headlines after conference chair Liz Cheney was ousted for calling out former President Trump's false claims about election fraud, Democrats are facing a rift of their own. Recent policy decisions have exposed fractures between the center and left wings of the party. Earlier this month, President Biden reversed course on a decision to retain a Trump-era cap on refugees after backlash from progressives. For more on all of this, let's bring in the chair of the Democratic National Committee, Jaime Harrison. He joins me now from Columbia, South Carolina. Mr. Chairman, welcome back to Red and Blue.
Thank you so much for having me, Elaine.
So, as chairman, how are you managing the tensions between the more moderate and progressive wings of the Democratic Party?
Well, at this point, I know you all want to report on tensions, but they aren't. Because right now, the Democratic Party is united on two fronts. One, we're united in terms of addressing the needs of the American people. We saw that we were able to get Democrats together to pass the American Rescue Plan, and that plan has made such a dramatic impact on the lives of the American people. We got money in the pockets, people back in their jobs, vaccines in arms, and kids are getting back into school. And now we're focused in trying to have our party unified once again to get through Congress right now in the American Jobs Plan as well as the American Families Plan. We're also looking, we have gotten in the House of Representatives, H.R. 1 passed, and we're looking to get that support, that unified support in the Senate for voting rights as well. So there's a lot right now that we're doing as a party, and we're doing it all together.
So I want to be clear, are you saying there has not been a move to the left, or if there has been a move to the left, is that a response to what is happening out in the country with shifting attitudes?
There's been a move to address the difference in the move is we're addressing the needs of the American people. When you talk to Joe Biden, it's not about left or right. It's about whether or not we're doing the things to help the American people deal with the COVID crisis that we've been struggling with for the past year or so. What we're trying to do is push back against these Republican attempts to take away the necessary resources that are so needed by the American people. You got governors who are canceling right now the unemployment benefit. The $300 benefit that so many struggling families need right now. When people are down, they don't need to be kicked by Republicans. What we're trying to do is give them a helping hand. And so, again, for us, it's not about the left or right. It's about what are we doing in order to help the American people deal with the issues that they're dealing with at this moment.
So we're seeing different campaign strategies in battleground states. Senators Mark Kelly and Kyrsten Sinema of Arizona represent a state where Democrats have struggled to win for years. Compare that to Georgia, where Senators Warnock and Ossoff ran on more progressive ideas. Do those states represent a kind of dilemma for Democrats at all, as you see it?
No, ultimately, people, and I say this all the time, there's not one message. People need to run on the issues that are important to the people that they're trying to represent. Yeah, Tip O'Neill's statement that all politics are local is true. Make sure that you're talking to the constituents that you want to represent and make sure that you are addressing their needs. If you're in a place like Georgia, are you talking about the lack of broadband in rural communities? Are you talking about the fact that your rural hospitals are closing? When you're in Arizona, are you talking about the high cost of prescription drugs? Are you talking about the issues that many of our seniors are dealing with? So it's important that you don't take some message from a national Washington, D.C. shelf, but you're actually listening to the people in the communities that you're representing, and you're making sure that you're fighting for those things that it help to improve their lives and the lives of their families and their communities overall.
So I just want to make sure I understand what you're saying, because some people will look at the rhetoric coming from some quarters in the Democratic Party and say, how is it that you can say there are not tensions there when you talk about some Democrats calling for defunding the police, for instance, when you talk about some Democrats being dissatisfied with what they've seen from the Biden administration so far on the issue of immigration? Are you saying that there are no sharp divisions along those lines between progressives and the more centrist wings of the party?
I think you look at where the majority of the Democratic Party is. Look at the legislation that is being considered in the House and in the Senate, and that is being passed right now. I mean, you're even hearing folks like, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who said that she's surprised by the direction that the Biden administration has made on a number of policy issues. You've seen Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren working with the Biden administration on a number of things. You're even seeing some of your more conservative Democrats, even Joe Manchin, still working with the Biden administration. Ultimately, this is, my old boss, Jim Clyburn, used to say that, we may take different paths, but the destination is the same. How can we build a better America for all of her people? And that's what we see in the Democratic Party. You don't see what we see on the Republican Party. We're not expelling members of the leadership because they want to uphold a lie. We're not kicking people out here and there because they won't say that Donald Trump or the equivalent, that Joe Biden is the greatest. We understand that people have different backgrounds and experiences, and they're coming at this in different ways, but the destination is the same. How can we build a better America for all of our people?
Before we let you go, I do want to look ahead a bit. As life begins to return to normal, what do you think the defining issues will be in 2022?
Well, I think a lot of people are going to look and they're going to say, in the time that we were in our greatest need, who helped me? Who gave me a helping hand? Who helped my communities? Who invested in us? And that answer is going to be a stark answer. It's going to be the Democratic Party. Because when Joe Biden was getting this American Rescue Plan done and was talking about an infrastructure plan and jobs plan, Kevin McCarthy was playing with Mr. Potato Head dolls and reading Dr. Seuss. We need real leaders who understand the hardships and the issues that the American people have been facing and that have come up with solutions to get it done. In the end of the day, we got the American Rescue Plan passed without one vote from the Republicans. And many of them now are trying to take credit for something that they didn't even pass and they voted no against. And so in the end of the day, I think the American people are going to enjoy this success and the economy is going to continue to grow. And they're going to be thankful for the leadership that they got from Joe Biden and the Democrats in the House and the Senate.
DNC Chairman Jaime Harrison, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.